your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Talking Red Raiders softball this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts, comments on it as well on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. And listening to Coach Glasgow on my way home last night in the pregame on Double T 97.3, Jimmy, he talked about how he thought it was going to be critical to get walks in the ball game, and he thought that if they could get 4 to 5 walks, that they would win the game. And they got 3. And those 3 were early on, and they helped lead you to a couple of runs. So he wasn't wrong. He was a little short on the number, and in terms of what Texas Tech gave up, just the one walk to go with 5 hits. Texas Tech had 6 hits in the ball game. The other thing he said,
when hits are at such a premium, obviously the free passes are massive because it just gives you, because you don't get many opportunities, and these those walks give you those extra opportunities that are big. Yeah,
and with Sam Landry and his relationship with her, she was headed here until Kennedy signed with Texas Tech, and she played for him at Louisiana. He said he felt like that he could probably call every pitch that she was going to throw. I mean, he had worked with her for 3 years. He said, but I told my team we're playing it straight up. He goes, we're just going to play against them and play them straight up, and not use any funny business or the true inside knowledge that he had of her. And I thought that was interesting. That's very gentlemanly of him in terms of I guess respecting the game. I mean, you want to use it to a certain degree, but I think he felt like he had more intuitive knowledge than you would normally have, going up to face a pitcher. And that was his call on that. And obviously they had to have a special relationship there. And it goes back to his late daughter when she played for him at Louisiana. So, and he has certainly pushed all the right buttons. And Devin Park in Oklahoma City has been really good for the Red Raiders. They won the Big 12 there earlier in May. They're 6-0 there, and they've outscored their opponents 33-3. That's pretty good.
It's really good.
You're going to win a lot of ball games if you outscore somebody 33-3.
I think it's less about the park. I think it's more about Nigeria candidate.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah,
probably so. But they're comfortable, right? They're comfortable there.
They clearly like it.
Yeah, they're comfortable there.
What's that saying? Your momentum is only as good as your next.
You're only as good
pitcher?
as the next day's starting pitcher.
And you got
our momentum is always good for the Tech softball team.
Yeah, and you kind of feel like Nigeria candidate is going to be your next day's starting pitcher, so you're feeling pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling about
days and the day after that, and the day after that?
How you feeling about taking on Texas, Jamie?
Yeah, I think they're the second best team there. So I think you truly got the 2 best teams. Obviously they have I don't even know if I want to say that they have a little bit of an advantage because they've played in this championship round before, but the players change so much, and Nigeria's been in the semifinals before, and I don't know. I feel like this is really it could go either way. Really, I guess that's what I mean. I feel like after watching the first day of action, I was like, yeah, Texas Tech are the best 2 teams. No question. So I'm not surprised that we are where we are at this point. Both of them got challenged, and both of them had good games or tight games that they came through, made plays, and I think you have the top 2 pitchers. And that's why they're in the final round.
Yeah.
I might say that Texas has a little bit more length to their lineup than the Red Raiders do, but I would also say I think Nigeri Kennedy's a little bit better than their ace. So
Okay.
We have the advantage on the mound. They maybe have the advantage at the plate. And in softball, we know where you want the advantage.
Yeah, you want it on the...
Or not on the mound, in the circle.
In the circle,
Yeah.
Texas got there by winning over Tennessee 2-0. Texas came in as the 6th seed, and the Red Raiders were 12th seed. But it sure seems like they were undervalued, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It does, again, tip of the cap to the Red Raider fans that know their softball, that felt like that we were deserving of a higher RPI and deserving of a higher seed. And, I didn't know enough to know whether that was right or wrong. But, just after watching the regional round and watching teams across the country, I, was in agreement. Like, yeah, why it feels like we're one of the best teams in the country. And I know as the number 12 seed, you were one of the best, but one of the 2 or 3 best.
Right, one of the really best,
yeah,
right?
It didn't take long in the regionals to kind of, to look at, and again, I had watched our team a decent amount during the season, but not a lot of other games, other national seeds and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, it does feel like you had initially said there that we were a little bit undervalued with that number 12 national ranking.
Texas batters struck out 9 times yesterday in their 2-0 win over Tennessee. They did have a home run, and it looked like on that home run that the ball was just misplayed a little bit by the Tennessee left fielder. Maybe the ball carried a little bit in that left field area.
I think it carried a little bit more than she expected, but she definitely did. I don't think you would say she played it well.
And I don't know if she could have. I don't know if she'd have timed it right. If she could have. If she had the leaping ability to go up there and catch that, because it looked like it just kept drifting and drifting and drifting. And we saw that early on in the game last night too, when a ball went down the left field line for the Red Raiders. It's like, oh, it's kind of wonky down there, in that left field corner with the wind, and I'm not sure what the wind speed was or anything along those lines. It just looked to me like it was carrying a little bit more to left or even left center than some previous days. Texas had 5 hits. They drew 2 walks in their win over Tennessee, and Tennessee almost forced a second game there, because Texas got a run in the 4th and then a big run in the 6th to give them an insurance run. Tennessee had a couple of errors, which really cost them.
Yep.
In the ball game as well. So you got to play clean because, as we all well know, that the margin is very thin, and it will be thin when you take on Texas. So you have 2 teams looking for their first national championship in that sport, in the sport of softball. So Texas, like you said, they've been there previously, and even Oklahoma, even though they were the 4-peaters going in, they had 14 kids that hadn't been there before.
Yeah.
So they still had a young, very good team, obviously, and they had experience. With their coaching staff and others on there, and players, support staff to help them, get through that. So at any rate, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think the town's abuzz, Jamie.
I would agree with that.
Think the town's abuzz. Let's see. Tech in 3 to shock the world. It will be extremely tough, but no matter what, it's been one phenomenal season. Yes.
Would that shock the world?
What, if Tech won?
If Tech won?
I don't think so at this point. I'm just reading what the texter said.
I know. I'm asking. Yeah. I just asked you a question.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think it would shock the college softball world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
In sports history, today is June the 3rd, 2025. Here's Jeff McGuire.
Going to start us off in 1925. Chicago White Sox baseball player-manager Eddie Collins becomes the 6th player to collect 3,000 hits.
Way to go.
In 1932, future Baseball Hall of Fame first baseman Lou Gehrig is the first to hit 4 consecutive home runs in a Major League Baseball game. Yankees beat the A's 20-13 at Shibe Park.
Okay.
1955, for our good buddy Mike Gustafson, Stan Musial hits his 300th career home run. 1971, Cubs pitcher Ken Holtzman throws his second no-hitter, beats the Cincinnati Reds 1-0 on the road at Riverfront Stadium. 1995, Expos pitcher Pedro Martinez, perfecto, is broken up in the 10th inning as San Diego's Bip Roberts leads off with a double.
Bip Roberts,
Montreal
I remember
wins
him.
1-0.
That's a bad deal.
That is a bad deal.
And in 2004, excuse me,
Jeff died.
a little bit, yeah.
You all right, man?
Yeah, I'm going to make it. I'm fine.
You're good?
Wrong pipe for a second. Texas Tech rode the arm of Dallas Braden and the hot bat of Josh Brady as the Red Raiders defeated Mississippi State 10-6 in the opening game of the NCAA Atlanta Regional. Braden had his best outing of the season as he struck out a career-high 11 batters and was 1 out away from a complete game. It is National Egg Day.
Egg.
The incredible edible one.
I really only like eggs 2 ways, in an omelet and scrambled.
Which is the same with cheese.
No cheese in my omelet.
So you just like scrambled eggs.
It's not scrambled if it's in an omelet. The omelet is together. It's whole. It's not scrambled.
You take an omelet.
It's
and
all
cut it
together.
into sections. Is it scrambled eggs then?
I guess I agree with both of you here. I mean, once I get done pulling my head out of the door, I'll just say that
Scrambled is all chopped up.
I feel like an omelet it's a good description, is a scrambled egg that's all together. But I get why both of you are saying what you were saying. I don't think either one of you are crazy people for saying that. So I'm just gonna
Beat your head against the door.
put my head against the door and let you two have at it.
Rafa Nadal is 39 today. And Anderson Cooper is 58. And on this day, 1965, I bet Chuck can tell us what happened.
June the 3rd, 1965. Would this be a Gemini mission?
This was a Gemini mission.
Okay. Was this a Jim Lovell and Frank Borman Gemini mission? 2 weeks in a tin can?
Nope.
Okay.
Was it 120 miles above the Earth? The
Ed White.
Of the Earth. This isn't Ed White.
He spacewalks.
He does spacewalk.
Okay.
Becoming the first American to do so.
moonwalked.
Yeah.
Well, you had to spacewalk first.
Yeah.
We had to get to space before we got to the moon. It's that little step there. Becomes the first American to walk in space. Oddly enough, also went to my church growing up. There's
Did he
the
really?
nice Ed White
Really?
Memorial Youth Center, where I went to church growing up.
cool.
You weren't born yet when he
I was
passed.
not born yet when he passed. No,
Yeah, when
I
he
was not
passed.
alive for Apollo 1.
Yeah.
And that,
No brush with greatness.
Yeah.
well, way extended brush of greatness.
Sure.
And that is this day of sports history.
And you know what that means? It means it's time for a lucky local winning word. I love how the other shows have tried to imitate our sounder there with their own variations of things.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it sounded very, I want to be better than Chuck.
Yeah, ours is organic, so, but that's okay. I mean, hey, we strive to be the leader of the other shows.
But one of the other shows has the soggy dog sounder, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know how to feel about that, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. The TikTok does that. Does the soggy dog sounder, I believe. Or is it?
So does the bottom line.
So does the bottom line. Okay. All right. So what we're doing is we're trying to put some cash in your pocket along with the Home Zone, helping you make your house a home. We're giving away $500 every Tuesday and Thursday. All you have to do is wait and listen for the lucky local winning word that I'm about to give you here. And then go to doubleTSportsNetwork.com. If you haven't qualified, just get qualified. It's really simple. Enter in the word that I'm about to give you, and you could be a winner. Of course, the more times you play, the more chances you have to win. And we want you to play again at 8:45 and then at 4:45 this afternoon, and then you can play during the day at 10:45, 12:45, and 2:45 on 100.7 The Score. Your word this morning at 6:51 is Trojans, as in the USC Trojans. 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 That's your lucky local winning word. From the Home Zone, helping you make your house a home every day but Sunday over at 50th in Indiana and Double T 97.3. Somebody, why not you? That's what they're saying at Texas Tech softball. Why not us? So why not you to win $500? You could get in the jalopy, put some gas in your car, go up there, get yourself a hot dog, Coca-Cola, couple of tickets, you and the missus or the mister or your buddies could watch the Red Raider softball team win tomorrow night over the Evil Empire. Okay? It's all very simple.
So when are you leaving? What are you waiting for?
Well, I've got...
I mean, it's all really simple, right?
We've got a pretty big agenda. Pretty big.
Oh, we know.
Pretty big agenda. That's a possibility. You know, there'd be a lot of hands to shake.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Syntax Hank wants to know, Chuck, so is the softball team going to be playing with house money? No, I think they're playing with. They're playing with real money right now. They've gotten to this level and they're like, why not just go ahead and finish the task, right?
Why not?
Just win it all. Just win it all. I don't know if this person has any kind of restaurant REM program expertise over at Texas Tech, but to get to an omelet, the egg has to be scrambled.
I also only eat my eggs that way.
Scrambled, or is it an omelet?
Yes.
Yes. I'm telling you, an omelet is an omelet. Scrambled eggs are scrambled eggs.
Agreed. It's a different version of the scrambled egg, and it is called something differently. You don't just call it a scrambled egg folded over.
Do you call it a scrambled fried egg? Do you call it a...
No, because those are different things.
You don't scramble a fried egg.
Do you call it
a fried egg?
Do you guys call it a scrambled poached egg?
No, you poached a poached egg.
Keep digging.
Yeah.
Keep digging. Keep trying. Try again.
I'm trying to think what kind of...
bigger shovel?
Like scrambled like Easter egg?
But again, they're referred to differently.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. They're referred to
I have never,
differently.
ever in the history of ever heard somebody refer to an omelet as scrambled eggs. Never.
No, because it's a different version of it, and so you call it an omelet.
Yeah, right.
But it technically is, the eggs are scrambled. When they throw it on their little grill back there to make you an omelet, do they scramble the eggs?
They beat them, you know.
Do they scramble them?
No, because they pour it all into one.
Okay.
They pour it all. They pour it all in the omelet pan.
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
I guess technically they scramble they beat the eggs. They mix them all together.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thanks for being with us today here on the Morning Drive. Let's see, a couple things here a bunch of things here about the from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Man, I'm going all the way back. Let's see. Is there a former baseball player that's got $1 million laying around somewhere? That from Marquise, yeah. Marquise also says, I like runny omelets. Is Chuck trying to invent a sunny side up omelet? No. Chuck, one day you two can sit and yell at the radio like I do. Okay. Okay. Viva 73. Chuck, you can certainly tell that you've never cooked an omelet in your life. Have a wonderful day. I've cooked many an omelet. In fact, actually, I pride myself on my omelet skills. I have an omelet pan.
Guys, we're arguing with someone that the only pasta they like is spaghetti. Because it tastes different.
Yeah.
I'm going to encourage all of us to drop it.
We are playing for a natty and we get egg talk. Really? It's just
it is National Egg Day.
It's just a little bit. You all need to check Chuck's coffee if he's seeing two sons at 7 in the morning. Nah, I thought about that. I truly believe that there weren't any 4 batters that could have come up for Tech to win the game. I felt super confident with Aldred coming up to score the winning run. Okay. Let's see. The OU ex-players behind the dugouts dancing like rock stars, flashing 4 national championship rings. The look at me cringe was sickening. Well, I think they were just trying to rally the team. I didn't get an impression of the look at me, but...
Yeah, I mean, they've been there all tournament long.
Yeah.
They've definitely been there to support the Sooners.
You know.
Kind of feels like it's a little bit of a tradition for them to all, for a bunch of them to come back and support and hang out there together and all that, which is, it's become a second home for them, unfortunately. So
yeah,
it was nice to kick them out of their house.
I didn't know this, and maybe, yeah, right. I didn't know this until last night, and maybe I'd heard it before, but the Olympics, when they're held in Los Angeles, the softball will be played in Oklahoma City. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you wanted to see Olympic sports, you could go to Oklahoma City and watch softball. Mm-hmm. Seems kind of strange, but I get it. Just from the standpoint that I think one of the things that you don't want to do is continue to kind of build things that are only going to be available for a couple of weeks. It makes sense to use existing facilities. That would help. Kind of save on the cost.
Remember in the last Olympics, I mean, the surfers were like nowhere near.
Right. Yeah. Right. Halfway across the world.
Yes.
Right.
That seems fine.
Right. The ESPN crew jinxed the OU home run. They had just put up the graphic that she had 0 home runs. Yeah. Sean said, did Chuck just write a children's book, Daddy Son and Little Son? I don't know. Do you think you could write a children's book?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I bet you could. You know, down the line, a couple grandkids in you, and you'll be a good writer.
I don't see that as something that I would go after, but
okay. Well, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Who knows?
You could write a little, instead of Little Red Riding Hood, you could call it Little Red Raider.
There you go.
Lil, like
Lil.
Washed Up Guy says this, I enjoyed seeing Kennedy's reaction in the on-deck circle. Yes. Yeah. With 2 outs, she easily scores because she would have been running on contact. Because of the situation, she had to hold up and make sure the ball didn't get caught. Okay, that's a fair point with regard to the Tony hit into left field. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
It's called good base running.
Yeah. Let me tell you, when they turned the double play on Kennedy, it was loud, but it was a roar when that ball went over. But what a fun deal to shut them up and see the sickening look on their faces. Wreck them and horns down in 2. Fingers crossed. Oh, yeah, we'll have the whole horns down thing now, won't we? Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
This would actually be a time where it would be okay.
Yes.
Because why? Because we're playing the horns.
Right, you're playing the horns.
Yes.
Right. Yes. We get this. Coach Glasgow manages the team and games so well. So glad he is our coach. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's very interesting. I find him very entertaining. Just the stuff that he sees and the things that he, he thinks outside the box a little bit. And I think he's just the way he manipulates the substitutions and all that. I mean, obviously the steal of home the other night on Saturday, there was a lot that went into that, looking back at it, we can all go, oh, so that's why he did this, and that's why it was this, and this is why it was the perfect time and all that. But none of us were, including UCLA, were smart enough to figure it out at the time. And so it's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive. Again, I think he's a really good coach.
I did not see this, but apparently Dallas Braden put out a post of him watching the ending of the softball game. He's a baseball announcer now. Was watching from the broadcast booth of a stadium, could see the field in the background. He was pumped. Good for him. Think we'll see a Patrick Mahomes sighting in Oklahoma City?
I've not checked his travel plans, dude.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well,
my guess is no, but
you never know, right?
It's possible.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, seems like something he would like to do.
Yeah,
I don't know what his schedule is, Chuck.
Okay.
I mean, aren't they in OTAs or something?
Yeah, but I mean, he could get away. The question would be
they don't need the starting quarterback in OTAs. What are you talking about, Jamie?
If they won on Wednesday, would we see him on Thursday with a sleepover to Saturday? I mean, there's plenty to do there. You can take the kids and go to the pool and all that kind of stuff. Then go over to the softball.
Yeah, I'm sure that's Patrick wants to hang out in a hotel pool, Oklahoma City. Yeah, that'll go well.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right about that. Yeah, people would be wanting autographs in the pool. He'd have to have his underwater pin to take with him.
Yes, he would need that.
He needs underwater pin.
They got a really cool putt place there that I enjoy.
In Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
Okay.
You take the kids there.
Yeah. 722.
I like OKC. I wish the Big 12 tournament was back there.
Well, maybe, who knows? Maybe it will end up back there after a year in Arizona, because it kind of feels like that they don't want it in Arlington anymore. They don't see at least the Rangers don't. They don't see the value. At least that's what it feels like, right?
It feels like to me that the Rangers don't feel the value in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Big 12 probably does, because it's indoor and they can guarantee they're not going to have delays and all that good stuff. But it seems like from what I gather from the Rangers and their people, it was their call to move it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were there for your unfortunate brief stay this time, did you leave a little note for Eric Nadel?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Did not.
You didn't even think about it, probably, did you?
I did not. Did not. Leave him a little note.
Sorry, I missed you.
That would be your idea on foul balls is dumb.
Yeah, and that was his.
Yeah.
He's the one that's got that.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Well, we'll test him out right here, Chuck.
Okay.
Because we're talking college football, Big 12 football. And our question of the day today, it's a very simple one. I want you, in order, to give me your predicted top 4 teams in the Big 12 Conference.
Okay. Top 4 teams in the Big 12 Conference.
You can go 4-1 or 1-4.
Oh, okay. I think I'll start. I think in this case, usually I'm a 4-1 as opposed to a 1-4. But I think in this particular case, I'll start at the top and go to the 4. So, man, I'm gonna. Is this the final standings, like after the Big 12 championship game?
I would say heading into the Big 12 championship.
Heading into the Big 12 championship game. Okay. BYU, Texas Tech, Kansas State, and Iowa State.
Okay.
Kansas State, Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State.
All right, I'm taking the Red Raiders at number 1. I will take Kansas State at number 2, BYU at number 3, Iowa State at number 4.
Okay, we're all pretty high on Iowa State.
7-2 a year ago.
Yeah.
They returned their quarterback. I know they lost their receiving core, but yeah.
Not so much on who's next, do you think?
I think Baylor's up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I might put Baylor 5th.
Okay. How about TCU?
Probably not that high.
Okay. And Arizona State, you think there's going to be a big fall off there?
I don't think big, but I don't think they'll be 7-2 in conference play. I think it'll be closer to 5-4, 6-3. So they're in that 6-7 range.
Okay. And who do you think is the worst this year? Do you think it's
Who do I think is the worst this year? That's fun.
Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, Okie State? I don't think Okie State's going to go 0-9 again.
I don't think they're going 0-9 again, but I didn't see them do a lot to improve their roster. And they had a lot of problems with that. I still think they're at the bottom of the conference.
Yeah, I think Arizona might be down there too. Boy, they were a team that last year I thought was going to make it interesting. And
They did not.
And I'm not real high on Cincinnati either heading into the year.
Mm-hmm. Man, now that Cincinnati has to play real teams, it feels like that they've kind of faded back to the norm.
Well, when they came here to Lubbock last year, we were touting them being a good team. And they just did not finish very strong at all.
No, they were 3-6, but I mean, you know, when they were in a conference where there wasn't anybody else really playing. I mean, they were 8-1, 9-0, 7-2, going to the BCS.
We probably could say the same thing about UCF, couldn't we?
Sure. And I was going to ask you about UCF and Scott Frost and going back there, and you know, can he win in the Big 12? Can you go quote home again? I mean, it's not home for him. Home was Nebraska, and it didn't work out there, unfortunately for him. So he's going back to a place that he had a lot of success.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, again, competition is much stiffer than when he was there previously. Money's a lot better, you know, in terms of probably, you know, being able to build his roster and things like that. But is it better than, you know, half the teams in the Big 12? Kind of makes me wonder. Feels like that UCF kind of scrimps it along. Feels like that they're like a
Scrimps it?
Yeah.
Meaning they're like going cheap?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not going to work.
Right. No, I mean, it feels like
in this era of college sports, if that's what you're trying to do.
It kind of feels like a, you know, Major League Baseball team that doesn't spend their full allotment and relies on other teams to help fund them.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Well, that's not a recipe for success in this era of college sports.
But if you're just trying to turn a profit, you know, in your athletic department, then...
I mean, we took one of their best players. I'm sure we were offering more than they were offering.
Oh, yeah. No,
Lee Hunter.
No doubt.
Their defensive lineman.
No doubt. Maybe he liked his trip here, too. Hey, you know, this looks like a pretty good place to play. You know?
I'm sure. I mean, absolutely. I mean, he's comparing Lubbock to Orlando. I'm sure he chose Lubbock.
Well, but I mean, I'm just talking about, you know, access to things, ease of getting around town, you know, amenities that he's got at the football stadium, you know, weather's maybe not quite as volatile, you know. All those things. I think that all.
He picked the weather of Lubbock over the weather of Orlando.
I'm just saying, maybe he didn't like the humidity. Okay. Maybe he didn't like just walking outside and sweating. There's value in that, Jamie.
There is
You're
value.
a special kind of person there, Chuck.
There is definitely value.
Well, I
would
listed a
agree.
lot of things before I got to the weather.
I would agree that I personally, having lived in both East and West Texas, would definitely choose West Texas over East Texas.
I mean, I can remember.
I've not lived in Orlando. My guess is I would choose Orlando over both.
Over Lubbock?
The weather?
Living in Orlando, you'd like to do that?
Where it's warm more?
I think it'd be
Jamie does not like cold.
I think it'd be an ache.
He does not like cold at all.
I think it'd be an ache.
Or
I mean, take you forever to get to the dry cleaners, forever to go to the grocery store.
It would, because I've never been to one in my life.
Forever to get to work, just to go, pick up something real fast, takes just forever.
Yeah, but you're around the corner from Disney.
Yeah, if you want to do, I mean, then it's not special. Oh, you want to go to Disney? Sure. It's just not special. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I love living in Lubbock. I am not trying to say that I don't.
Yeah, I know that.
We're going to talk about weather between Orlando and Lubbock. I feel like Orlando probably wins that battle.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but like I said, maybe he just got tired of the drama in Orlando. Maybe
What's the drama?
Oh, I don't know, just traffic. Maybe the.
Can you? I mean, like
maybe the girls are more high.
Did you guys see
drama.
how stressed out Chuck is by traffic? I mean, by having to wait behind other cars. I mean, it stresses him to no end.
I just don't have the patience, and it's a fault of mine.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
You get a full 3 hours of the bottom line today. You'll have Astro Baseball tonight. After all of that, on 100.7 The Score, they play in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. 5:10 the broadcast time. Rangers will play tonight as they take on the Rays in Tampa at Steinbrenner Field. We'll have it for you at 6. So a full 3 hours of Tech Talk today after the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Rangers and the Rays. Rangers looking for 2-game winning streak.
Let's go.
The Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
We'll have a lucky local winning word for you at 8:45 this morning. Give you a chance to win some casheline from us and the Home Zone, making your house a home. All right, some things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Just some reaction to our conversation. My friend does security for officials at basketball and football. We were down there the night Beard came back. The look on his face when he came out of the tunnel said, "What have I done?" Okay. I don't think it adds pressure to Joey, but it will look bad if we don't see success with the money spent after softball is doing what they're doing. They're spending money. If they can do it, you should be able to as well. Okay, I think we talked about that. Surely Joey learned from his lesson from Mouth and Overdrive. I think he's been less talkative in terms of talking about his team and brain in Grainy when he set the team/university up for the train wreck in Austin. Sometimes actions need to do the talking. Okay.
I think that was supposed to be Brain and Fanny, maybe.
Brain and what?
It says Brain and Granny.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
You said grainy.
Okay.
It's spelled granny.
Granny. Yeah. Granny.
I have no idea what that was supposed to mean. I
think just let your actions do the talking, I think is what that means.
Yeah. I mean, I think that coaches, there are plenty of reasons that make sense for coaches to be positive in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, about their team. I mean, number one, they want to show the team that they're behind them, and he believes them in them and all that. And I do think that factors in, especially when you're talking about college kids. They have to, believe that their coach is behind them, and
you want them to work,
all
right?
that stuff, and you want them to feel like coach doesn't think we're terrible. I think the other part or other parts of it is, and when you're talking about Joey McGuire, I think you do build up your team a little bit because you want your fan base to be excited. You want them to show up and make it a raucous environment, and you want them to be excited and bring energy and all that. And you know that factors in. I think in the sports of football and basketball, I think it really, truly does factor in. And then the third part about it is, I don't think when Joey McGuire came on this radio show here on Double T 97.3 and said he thought the offensive line was going to be really good, it'd be a strength, I don't think Joey McGuire was lying. Yeah. I think sometimes coaches see things in practice and they think their unit is going to be good, or their quarterback is going to be good, or their wide receiver, or their pitching staff. And it gets to the season and they don't perform. And they're as surprised as the rest of us. Okay, that it wasn't good. And I think that probably happened with Joey McGuire. Okay, just like I think this year, when Tim Tadlock at the beginning of the season was saying, hey, we feel like we have way more bullets than we had in previous years, I don't think he was lying. I thought the same thing. And come to find out, the season started, you got out there, guys didn't perform, and you didn't have them, okay? So coaches are not always right. Yeah,
sometimes you're firing blanks instead of bullets.
I don't think coaches are lying to us. I don't think they're trying to overbuild anything up. But, I mean, would you want your head football coach to be like, man, I don't know about our secondary this year. We're heading in, man. Yeah. I'm really nervous about our secondary. Now, do coaches sometimes, is there the potential to go too far? Maybe, and maybe that's what Coach McGuire has learned. Maybe he's not going to jump out on a limb and be like, well, this position group's going to be our strength. We think they're going to be awesome or whatever. Maybe he tones that down a little bit and says, I don't know, but
I think it is tough for him because, generally speaking, he is a very positive guy.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's just his general nature. Chuck loves the coach that wins the press conference, and McGuire is that guy. Yeah, I've been known to do that. But I think overall right now, McCaslin is the most beloved coach on campus because of his success, and it's one of the big three sports. When you have guys like Kitley, Stone, and Sands, it stinks because they don't get all the love they deserve, but that's the nature of the sports they coach. Okay.
Yeah.
There's some truth to that, probably.
I mean, the fun part about it is all three of those guys, great personalities, too. Maybe everybody doesn't get to see that as much, but because they don't have, like Coach McGuire, they don't have to sit through an hour-long press conference every Monday, that the fan base sees. But you have some really good personalities, funny guys there.
This question is Kennedy the reaching greatest Tech player of all time status? I think the only person in her way is Cheryl Swoops, including men. No one talks about after the 2-run home run by OU, but she struck out the next batter right away. We talked about that. Is she reaching that status, Jamie?
I said last week in one of my statements that I think she's the most dominant player at Texas Tech, dominant athlete in a team sport, because there were track athletes that won multiple national championships, correct? But she is the most dominant team sport player since Cheryl Swoops. Yeah. I don't know who else you could put in there. I mean, Michael Crabtree's redshirt freshman year was crazy amazing, but it doesn't compete with what she's doing right now and
dominating the game,
possibly the national player of the year, and leading you to a chance to win a national championship. I don't know anybody else. JT Toppin was the Big 12 player of the year. He's not even close to her level.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I can't think, of a baseball player. I mean, Clint Bryant had some amazing seasons. I can't come up with anybody.
But you didn't have the postseason success that Kennedy's having with that team.
Yeah, no, I mean,
because you got to get to Omaha.
I mean, we could pick a bunch of great athletes that are like, oh my gosh, what an amazing season they had, or what a great year they had, or what a great career they had. I don't think any of them are coming close to where she is right now with this one. I mean, she is the best player in the sport, like Cheryl Swoops was. I think it's the last. I mean, I think that's the only two people we could say that about at any time that were big man on campus. Cheryl Swoops and Nigeri Kennedy. The only time we could say we have the best player in the sport.
Yeah. I think you're right.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.